When your soul decides to speak to you, it doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't come as a gentle whisper but as a torrent of truths you cannot ignore. Because, deep within you, you know that those truths don't seek your comfort but something far more valuable, your awakening. What your soul has to say isn't adorned with sweetness, it's loaded with a purpose greater than any momentary comfort. Those truths hit like a cold wind that cuts through the fog of illusions you've been living in. And while the world offers distractions and empty consolations, your soul insists that you look beyond. Why? Because the life you're living is nothing but a shadow of what you could be. As you begin your journey towards spiritual awakening, one of the first things you'll discover is that many of the beliefs and priorities you held weren't yours at all. You've lived, perhaps for years, striving to reach goals and meet expectations that were imposed on you from the outside. Society, family, and even the culture you grew up in taught you to value material success, constant productivity, and appearance over your inner peace and satisfaction. You found yourself trapped in an endless race, chasing things that, deep down, never truly resonated with you. When your soul starts speaking to you, it does so clearly and forcefully. It reveals that much of what you've been chasing is nothing but an illusion, a trap keeping you stuck in a cycle of conformity. Instead of living in alignment with your true essence, you've been carried along by what others expect from you, ignoring your own desires and needs. It is at that moment that reality hits hard. You've been climbing a ladder you didn't even place against the right wall, and now you're faced with the fact that the path you've traveled wasn't the right one for you. This awakening can be painful. Realizing that everything you've been pursuing doesn't belong to you may bring a deep sense of loss and confusion. However, this pain is merely a sign that you're clearing the ground, making room for something much bigger and more authentic. It's a moment of deep reflection, where you begin to release the beliefs and ideals that were never yours, to finally connect with what truly makes you feel whole and at peace. It is in this transition that a great opportunity arises, the chance to rediscover who you are at your core and start building a life aligned with your deepest values. This new life is not based on what others expect, but on what you truly desire. It's a journey of self-discovery and liberation, where fulfillment no longer comes from the outside, but from living in harmony with what your soul always knew was right for you. Over time, a new reality begins to take root within you. You realize how fear has guided your decisions, how you've allowed the fear of failure, judgment, and the unknown to control your life. These fears have been like invisible chains holding you back, preventing you from pursuing what you truly desire. But what's more revealing is that these fears aren't real in the deepest sense. They're creations of your mind, mechanisms that, under the guise of protection, keep you in a state of limitation. Your soul, however, doesn't see fear as an insurmountable obstacle. To your soul, these fears are illusions, barriers that hold no power beyond what you've given them. When your soul speaks, it does so with clarity, inviting you to face those fears head-on. It doesn't ask you to avoid them or try to dodge them, but to walk through them with courage. It knows that what you fear most doesn't have the power to destroy you but can be the doorway to greater freedom and personal growth. Instead of seeing fear as the enemy, your soul teaches you to change your perspective. It's not about conquering those fears as if they were adversaries to be defeated, but about understanding them, accepting them as part of your human experience. In doing so, you discover that fear is nothing more than a signal, a guide showing you the areas where you most need to grow. It's in this conscious confrontation with your own fears that true transformation arises. As you embrace this new understanding, you begin to notice a profound shift. Fear is no longer something that paralyzes you but becomes a tool that propels you towards self-knowledge. You realize that, far from being a barrier, every fear is an opportunity to explore and expand the boundaries of your being. It is then that you embark on your true purpose, freer and more aligned with the truth of who you really are. With this new courage rooted in you, you begin to see your relationships in a different light. You realize that many of them didn't arise from a true soul connection, but were formed out of convenience, habit, or social expectations. What your soul shows you now is that authentic connection is a rare treasure, something that can only flourish when there's vulnerability and honesty. It requires you to show yourself as you are, without the masks you've learned to wear to fit into the world around you. This process of introspection can be painful, as it involves accepting that some of the people in your life no longer have a place in this new stage. Not because they're bad or because you've stopped valuing them, but because they belong to an earlier version of you, a narrative in which you no longer fit. This is an inevitable part of your personal evolution. It's not about rejecting others, but about making room for relationships that truly reflect who you are now, not who you used to be. Letting go of these connections is not an act of cruelty or selfishness, it's an act of love toward yourself and toward them. You understand that, in order to make way for this new version of yourself, you must also allow your relationships to align with your growth. This isn't always easy, but it's necessary. The company you choose to keep should be one that not only respects your evolution but also propels it, even if it means creating distance from some. In those moments of stillness, when everything quiets down and you allow yourself to reflect deeply, you may come to an unexpected revelation: much of your suffering has been created by yourself. It is in these moments that your soul shows you a truth that may be hard to accept but is liberating at the same time. The stories you've told yourself over the years, those that say you're not enough, that you don't deserve love, or that you're not worthy, have been the pillars of your own pain. But here's the key: those stories aren't real, they are beliefs you've accepted without question, often unconsciously, and that have shaped your life until now. Your soul, in all its wisdom, knows that you have the power to change these narratives. You're not doomed to keep repeating the same old stories that limit you. It challenges you to write a new script for your life, one based on self-love, compassion, and the total acceptance of who you are. While this process is not easy, it's essential. It involves looking within, to those parts of yourself you've avoided out of fear or pain, and allowing the light of your awareness to illuminate the shadows that have directed your actions and decisions for so long. As you begin this inner work, you realize something powerful: who you truly are is not defined by your past mistakes, by the opinions others hold of you, or by the hardships you've faced. You are not your suffering, nor your failures. You are the one who chooses every day how to live, how to love, and how to grow. Every decision you make, every thought you change, is an opportunity to move closer to the most authentic and free version of yourself. As you deepen your inner journey, a crucial revelation comes into focus: life is not simply something that happens to you, it's something you create. This truth, though filled with empowerment, can also be intimidating. Recognizing that you have the power to shape your reality means accepting full responsibility for everything that has happened in your life, from moments of joy to moments of sorrow. You can no longer blame fate, circumstances, or others. Every thought, every decision, every action you've taken has been a brick in the construction of your current life. Your soul guides you to understand that if you want to transform your life, that change must begin from within. It's not about achieving perfection or meeting external standards, but about aligning with your authentic essence. Living in authenticity means synchronizing your outer life with your inner truth, being true to who you really are, not to who you think you should be to please others or fit into a predefined mold. It's a path toward liberation, where the masks fall, and what remains is your most genuine self. This process of self-transformation can be challenging because it demands a radical level of honesty with yourself. To stop living according to others' expectations and start living according to what truly matters to you takes courage. You may face moments of doubt or uncertainty, but as you continue moving forward, you begin to notice a sense of inner peace, a harmony you've never experienced before. It is in that authenticity that you discover your true power. Throughout this journey, you will inevitably face challenges that will test your inner strength. As you begin to shed the layers of illusion you've carried for so long, you may experience a deep sense of vulnerability. It's natural to feel exposed and unsure, and in those moments, you might wonder if you're truly on the right path, if the decisions you've made are leading you where you should be going. But this is where your soul steps in to remind you of a fundamental truth: uncertainty is not a mistake, it is an essential part of the process. Growth, in its most authentic form, is rarely comfortable. It involves stepping out of your comfort zone, venturing into unknown territories where there are no guarantees or predefined answers. This space of uncertainty can be overwhelming, but it is also where the greatest potential for your personal transformation lies. Instead of fearing it, your soul invites you to embrace it, to trust that this uncertain terrain is where true strength is forged. It is in the midst of doubt and confusion that you discover who you truly are and what you're made of. As you continue down this path of transformation, one truth becomes evident: life is not a journey to avoid pain but to embrace it as part of the human experience. Your soul teaches you that pain is not something to fear or resist, but something to feel deeply, to understand, and to learn from. Every painful experience you've gone through carries with it a valuable lesson, a hidden gift, an opportunity to grow in ways you never imagined. You come to this truth not through words but through a visceral and deep understanding. You realize that the scars you carry are not symbols of weakness, but marks of the strength you've developed through the battles you've faced. Through these wounds, you discover that they are reminders of your resilience, of the times you've fallen and risen again, stronger and wiser. As you heal these wounds, you begin to cultivate greater compassion, both for yourself and for others. You become more empathetic, more connected to the shared suffering of humanity, and this understanding allows you to offer support and love from a genuine place. The pain you once feared transforms into a teacher that guides you toward greater wisdom and deeper connection with others. Your purpose, like many of the truths your soul reveals to you, is not something you need to search for outside of yourself. Rather, it is something that lies within, waiting to be discovered. Purpose is not about what you do, but about who you are at your core. It's about living in alignment with your deepest values, contributing to the world in a way that resonates with your truth. Sometimes, this contribution may seem small or insignificant, but no matter how big or small, every act of authenticity has an impact. What your soul tells you is not meant to break you but to lift you up. It reminds you of the power that has always been within you, the limitless potential you possess. The truths it reveals, though sometimes difficult to accept, are always guides toward a fuller, more authentic life. The soul doesn't speak in riddles, but in a clear, simple, and deeply transformative language. It speaks from truth, a truth that, when heard and understood, has the power to change your life in ways you never imagined. So open your heart to what your soul has to say. Listen without fear, with curiosity and openness. Allow that truth, which has always been within you, to guide you toward the life you were always meant to live. And remember, purpose is not something you seek but something you live every day, in every choice, in every act of love and authenticity. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this message has resonated with you, leave me a comment about what you've learned or what you'd like to share. I deeply value your time and presence. Have a day full of purpose and peace.